You have heard his name whispered in the boardrooms of Wall Street. You have seen his quotes plastered across social media. But do you truly know the face behind the legend? To the Western world, he is a ghost, a shadow from a distant past, a mere name on the cover of a book that has survived 2,000 years. They call him the architect of war. But Sun Tzu was not just a collection of clever proverbs. He was a man of flesh and blood, born into a world of endless fire and broken steel. He lived in an era where a single mistake meant the death of an entire lineage. Today, we pull back the curtain of myth to find the real commander. Welcome to our journey through 81 legendary minds. Tonight, we begin with the foundation of all strategy. The man who taught the world that the greatest victory is the one that requires no blood. This is General Number 1. This is the story of Sun Tzu. History is often written by the winners, and sometimes it is written by those who love a good story. For centuries, scholars have debated, did Sun Tzu actually exist? Some claim he was a collective identity, a ghostwriter for the kings of old. They argue that one man could not possibly possess such infinite wisdom. However, the grand historian Sima Qian wrote of a man named Sun Tzu, a strategist who fled the falling kingdom of Qi to find his destiny in the wild south. While legends paint him as a mystical sage with supernatural powers, the truth is far more grounded and perhaps far more impressive. He was a refugee, a man who saw the ultimate horror of the warring states period and decided to find a way to end the chaos through the very tool of destruction, war itself. We are not here to talk about a god. We are here to talk about a brilliant, calculated, and sometimes ruthless genius. Let us separate the mist of the supernatural from the solid cold steel of history. Sun Tzu was born in the state of Qi, a land known for its philosophers and its fierce tradition of archery. But he did not find his home there. As the great powers of China tore each other apart, Sun Tzu became a wanderer. He carried with him nothing but his observations and a vision for a new kind of warfare. He traveled south to the kingdom of Wu, a place the civilized states considered barbaric. There, in the deep emerald-green forests, he lived as a hermit. He was not leading armies yet. He was listening to the wind. He was watching how water carved through stone. He was writing his thoughts on bamboo slats, creating what we now know as the art of war. He was a man waiting for a moment and a king who was desperate enough to try something radical. The king of Wu was looking for power, but Sun Tzu was looking for a canvas to paint his masterpiece of strategy. It was a meeting that would change the course of Asian history forever. The king of Wu was skeptical. He challenged Sun Tzu. "Could you train even my palace women to fight?" Sun Tzu replied, "Yes." What followed is one of the most chilling stories in military history. He gathered 180 concubines and appointed the king's 2 favorites as their captains. But when the drums rolled and Sun Tzu gave the order to march, the women only laughed. They thought it was a game. Sun Tzu remained calm. He repeated the orders. Again they giggled. Then the air turned cold. Sun Tzu spoke. "If the orders are clear but not obeyed, it is the fault of the officers." Despite the king's desperate pleas, Sun Tzu ordered the execution of the 2 favorite concubines on the spot. He replaced them and gave the order again. This time, the silence was deafening. The women moved with the precision of a clockwork machine. In that moment, the king learned a terrifying lesson. Discipline is not a suggestion. It is the heartbeat of an army. And Sun Tzu was not a man to be trifled with. To Sun Tzu, war was not about who had the biggest sword or the strongest shield. It was a game of shadows and light. His philosophy was revolutionary because it prioritized the mind over the muscle. "The supreme art of war," he wrote, "is to subdue the enemy without fighting." He believed that every battle is won or lost before it ever begins. He taught the world to appear weak when you are strong and strong when you are weak. He saw the battlefield not as a place of chaos, but as a system of patterns. He studied the psychology of fear, the geography of the earth, and the rhythm of the seasons. While other generals sought glory in a bloody charge, Sun Tzu sought victory through deception. He wanted to break the enemy's will, not just their bones. His words were simple, yet they contained the power to topple empires. Know yourself and know your enemy, and you will never be defeated. This was not just military advice. It was a manual for survival in a dangerous world. In 506 BC, theory met reality. The powerful state of Chu launched a massive invasion. They brought an army of 200,000 men, a tidal wave of iron and chariots. Sun Tzu's king was panicked. Wu had only 30,000 soldiers. The math was simple. Wu should have been crushed in a week. But Sun Tzu did not seek a head-on collision. He led his small force on a long, grueling march through the mountains, bypassing the enemy's strong points. He made the Chu army chase him, dragging the giant across the landscape until it was exhausted. He used the terrain like a weapon. He moved like water flowing around obstacles and striking at the gaps. The Chu generals were confused. They were fighting a ghost they could not catch. Sun Tzu was not just running away. He was leading them exactly where he wanted them. He was setting the stage for one of the greatest upsets in the history of human conflict. The hunter was slowly becoming the prey. When the moment was right, Sun Tzu struck with the force of a falling mountain. At the Battle of Boju, the tired and demoralized Chu army finally cornered what they thought was a small retreating force. Instead, they found a nightmare. Sun Tzu unleashed his elite troops in a series of lightning strikes. He attacked from angles they didn't expect. He used fire noise and sheer speed to create the illusion of a much larger force. The massive Chu army broke. In 5 major engagements, Sun Tzu's 30,000 men dismantled a kingdom nearly 10 times their size. They marched into the Chu capital Ying and watched as the superpower of the era crumbled to its knees. The world was in shock. The barbaric kingdom of Wu was now the master of the heartland. Sun Tzu had proven that a small, disciplined force led by a genius could rewrite the laws of the physical world. Victory was no longer about numbers. It was about the architect's plan. But what made Sun Tzu so different from the butchers who came before him? He believed that a general must be more than a killer. He defined 5 essential traits for any leader: wisdom, sincerity, benevolence, courage, and strictness. He told his officers to treat their soldiers like their own beloved sons, so they would follow him into the deepest valleys. But he also warned that they must be treated with the cold discipline of a master. A leader must be as calm as a forest and as unpredictable as thunder. Sun Tzu never sought the spotlight. He didn't want statues or songs in his honor. He believed that the best victory is the one where the people say we did it ourselves. This humility was his greatest strength. He understood that a leader's ego is the most dangerous enemy on the battlefield. To lead others, you must first master yourself. This wisdom has traveled from ancient battlefields directly into the boardrooms and locker rooms of the 21st century. After the dust of the Great War settled, Sun Tzu did something unexpected. He didn't stay to become a powerful minister or a wealthy lord. Like the mist he so often wrote about, he simply vanished. Some stories say he retired to the quiet mountains to live out his days in peace. Others suggest he was purged by a king who grew too fearful of his brilliance. But while the man disappeared, his spirit became immortal. For 2,000 years his book was hidden, studied in secret by the greatest conquerors. Napoleon Bonaparte carried it. The samurai of Japan lived by it. Even today, the most elite military academies in the West teach his words. He is the silent mentor to every person who faces an impossible challenge. He is the first of our 81 legends because he provided the language of victory. He taught us that while war is a tragedy, strategy is a tool that can save lives if used with wisdom. The architect of war left us a map to find our way through the chaos of life. Sun Tzu's wars are over, but yours are just beginning. You may not be leading 30,000 men through a mountain pass, but you are fighting for your dreams, your career, and your future every single day. The enemy might be a competitor, a difficult situation, or even the doubt inside your own mind. Remember his most important lesson: every battle is won or lost before it ever starts. Prepare in silence. Act with precision. Master your mind before you try to master the world. Thank you for joining us for the first chapter of 81 Chinese Generals. If you found value in the wisdom of Sun Tzu, hit the subscribe button and join our ranks. We have 80 more legends to uncover. Who will be General number 2? He was a man so terrifying that his name alone could stop a child from crying. We will see you in the next battle. Stay sharp. Stay strategic.